Imagine a single word, just one word, that changed the course of human history forever.
A word that transformed a shepherd into a leader and a desert into a civilization.
Before this moment, the world was drowning in darkness. But after this moment, the foundations of science,
Law and spirituality were laid down. To understand this event, we have to travel back 1400 years to a barren valley in the Arabian desert.
This was the era of Jahiliyyah, the age of ignorance. It wasn't just that people couldn't read, it was a moral darkness.
There were no human rights. A baby girl was considered a burden, often buried alive in the sand.
Yet these people were masters of language. They loved poetry. They used words like swords to boast, to insult, and to show pride.
they had the eloquence, but they had no wisdom. They had the words, but no direction. The world was waiting for a light.
In the middle of this chaos, one man felt suffocated by the corruption. He sought distance. He sought silence. He would climb this mountain, Jabal al-Nur, the mountain of light. It is steep, difficult, and isolated.
Near the top, there is a tiny cave, Cave of Hira, barely enough space for a few people. This was the sanctuary.
He would spend days and nights here, meditating, asking, who created this? Why are we here? It was the month of Ramadan. The year was 610 CE. The nights were becoming intense.
Something was about to break the silence of centuries.
Imagine you are there, alone, in the dark, no electricity, no sounds except the wind. Complete isolation.
Suddenly a presence appeared. Not a human, but a force of the heavens. The Archangel Jibril Kai.
The angel didn't just speak. He took hold of the prophet's neck. A squeeze so tight it felt like the soul was being pressed.
Then, the pressure released, and the command came. Iqra.
The prophet was unlettered. He had never gone to school. He replied, Ma ana biqari Abbas.
The angel squeezed him a second time, harder, and again commanded, Iqra.
Why was this word?
For the third time, the embrace. This wasn't a physical fight. It was the connection between the heavens and the earth being established.
The angel released him. The pressure was gone, but the words were burned into his heart. The connection between heaven and earth was now open.
And then the first words of the Quran echoed in the silence. Iqra bismi rabbika alladhi khalaq. خلق الإنسان من علق. Created man from a clinging substance.
Remember this word, alaq. We will come back to it.
Iqra wa rabbuka al-akram. In a desert of scarcity, God promised ultimate generosity. Allama bil qalam, who taught by the pen. Allama al-insana ma lam ya'alam, taught man what he did not know.
The angel disappeared. The prophet was alone again. But he was not the same man who walked into the cave.
Terrified, trembling, he rushed down the mountain. He thought he might be losing his mind.
He reached his home. He went straight to his wife, Khadija mine. In a world of chaos, she was his anchor. Zammiloni. Zammiloni. Cover me. Cover me. He was shivering from the shock of the divine encounter.
Khadija radiallahu ta'ala anhu didn't doubt him. She said, no, by Allah, he will never disgrace you. You uphold justice, you help the poor, you speak the truth. Now let's pause. Why did the Creator use the word alaq in the very first revelation? This is where the miracle begins.
In Arabic, alaq has three distinct meanings, and remarkably, all three describe the human embryo perfectly.
Meaning number one, a leech, a blood-sucking worm. Sounds strange, right? Why call a human a leech?
But look at this.
If you take a 24-day-old human embryo and place it next to a leech, they look exactly the same.
It's not just the shape. Like a leech, the embryo clings to the mother and feeds on her blood supply. It is literally a leech in function.
Meaning number 2, a suspended thing, something that hangs.
Meaning number 3, a clot of blood. At this stage, the blood is trapped inside the embryo and doesn't circulate yet. It looks exactly like a clot.
There were no microscopes 1400 years ago, no ultrasound. How could an unlettered man in the desert know this specific microscopic detail?
Even Dr. Keith Moore, one of the world's top embryologists, was shocked. He admitted, this information could only have come from God.
So man was created from a humble clot. But man forgets his humble beginning. He becomes arrogant.
In the next part, the enemy.
We just learned that man was created from a humble, hanging clot. A weak substance. You would think remembering this would make us humble, right? But no. The Quran immediately shifts tone. كَلَّا إِنَّ الْإِنسَانَ لَيَطْغَى.
Nay. Verily, man becomes extreme in transgression.
An ra'ahu staghna. When we get money, power, or technology, we think we don't need God anymore.
But the reality check comes in verse 8. Inna ila rabbika ruj'a. In Yim, you can build high, but you will fall.
These verses weren't just general advice. They were referencing a specific man, the worst enemy of the Prophet lost.
Abu Jahl, the tribal leader. He saw the Prophet ﷺ praying at the Kaaba and was furious. He swore to stop him.
He threatened, if I see Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam praying here again, I will step on his neck. God forbid.
But when he tried to approach, he suddenly retreated, terrified. He saw a trench of fire and winged terrors between them.
Allah responded to this threat with a very specific, strange description.
لَنَسْفَعًا بِالنَّسِيَّةِ. We will drag him by the forelock.
And how did Allah describe this forelock? نَسِيَّاتٍ كَضِبَةٍ خَطِعَةٍ. A lying, sinning forelock.
Wait, why the forehead? We usually say a lying tongue or a sinful heart. Why blame the front of the head? For centuries, scholars were confused until modern anatomy discovered the prefrontal cortex. This area, the frontal lobe, is the CEO of the brain. It is responsible for planning, decision-making, and lying.
When a person lies, MRI scans show that this specific part of the brain lights up.
And it is also the center of aggression and control. Exactly what Abu Jahl was doing, lying about the truth and being aggressive.
The Quran didn't say lying person. It pinpointed the exact body part responsible for the lie, the lying forelock. This function of the prefrontal cortex was only discovered in the 1940s. How did a book in the 7th century know this?
So what is the cure for this arrogance? The surah ends with the ultimate solution. Wasjud
waqtarib. Prostrate and draw near.
When you put your forehead, the center of your ego, on the lowest ground, you break the arrogance. You ground the circuit.
From the clot to the camera, from the cave to the cortex.
This was just the first revelation.
This one word, Iqra, didn't just stay in a cave. It exploded outward. It turned a desert society into the leaders of the world.
While Europe was in the Dark Ages, the followers of Iqra were building the world's first universities, hospitals, and observatories.
They invented algebra, optics, and modern medicine. Why? Because they believed studying creation was a way to worship the Creator.
Remember verse 4? Allama bil qalam adati. Taught by the pen. Allah swore by the tool of recording knowledge.
But today, the pen has changed. It is no longer just ink on paper.
The keyboard. It is the code. It is artificial intelligence.
We have more access to knowledge than any human in history. But do we have the wisdom? Or has the pen made us arrogant again?
We read posts, not books. We seek information, not transformation. We have forgotten the first part of the command, Bismi Rabbik.
Knowledge without direction is destruction. But knowledge with guidance is a cure.
So how does the surah end? It doesn't end with read more. It ends with wasjud. The journey starts with the mind, but it must end with the heart. Knowledge must lead to humility. The verse says, وَاقْتَرِبْ بِتَيْنِ. The lower you put your head, the closer you are to the master of the universe.
Let's recap. A man in a cave, alone, illiterate, producing a text that explains embryology, neurology, and history perfectly. Is this the speech of a man, or is this the echo of the Big Bang? The voice of the one who created the alaq?
The very first word revealed was a command for you, not just for him. Iqra. Don't let your forelock drag you to arrogance. Let your sujood lift you to the stars.
If this video opened your eyes, share it. Let the message of Iqra continue to spread through your digital pen.
We are decoding the Quran, verse by verse, miracle by miracle. Subscribe to join the journey. Next time, we look at the surah that made the most powerful man in Arabia fall to his knees. Surah Taha.
May we be the people of the pen and the people of prostration. Assalamu alaikum.